Hi, welcome to 90% Knitting. This is episode 178, and I'm Lisa, your host, also known as Fiber Nymph on Ravelry, Plurk, and Instagram. Haven't been too active on social media again this week. Sorry. I'll come back around, I promise, eventually. Anyway, today is Monday, November 9th, and it's the beginning of a new week. I love Mondays because I figure a good Monday sets the tone for the whole week, right? I'm not sure if this is going to be a good Monday or not, but fingers are crossed. Anyway, thanks for being here. And if you're new, thanks for checking out the podcast. And let's get started. Let's go on to the knitting, which is actually pretty minimal again this week. Honestly, 90% of my time lately has just been dyeing and getting ready for my show that's coming up on Saturday. So once the show's behind me, things should get to be a little bit more normal with regard to the knitting content of the show. Oh, hey, let's say hi to some people. I'm sorry, I forgot to do that. I had some people introduce themselves on the welcome thread on the 90% knitting board. And I'm sorry if I butcher anybody's names. That's my usual disclaimer. There's one I'm going to say is probably pronounced Miriam, but it's spelled M-I-R-J-A-M. I'm assuming the J might be pronounced like a Y. Not sure. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. But anyway, welcome. She is from Israel. Andrea from Michigan, who actually has a podcast called the Cat Lady Podcast, which I've not had a chance to watch yet, but would like to. So I'll check that out and let you know. And lastly, Madison, and she does not have a place listed, but welcome, all three of you. Thank you so much for joining the group. The group's up to 2,171 members, so we're closing in on 2,200 members, and once we get there, I will do another membership milestone drawing. So, yay. Okay, now we'll get on to the knitting. I have two projects in one bag, and this I'm going to actually do a review of this bag a little bit later in the podcast, but this is my Awesome Granny bag. Bags by Awesome Granny that Darlene sent me to do a review. If you remember last week, I think I told you about it, and I was going to put my antler cardigan project in here. I haven't started my antler cardigan, and I realized shortly after I recorded that I probably was not going to get to start my antler cardigan before I recorded next time. So I decided instead to put two projects in this bag because it's definitely roomy enough to do that. I have a hair in my eye now. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been working out of this bag with two projects. So anyway, first project, which honestly does not look too much different than the last time you saw it. It's still the zombie waffle sock. So this is the blueberry waffle sock that I've talked about a million times. And I forget who wrote it. I'm so sorry. I don't have it in my notes. I didn't have it last time either. And I don't want to click off of. I have things set up on my computer, so I don't want to click off to find who the designer is. It'll be in the show notes. Blueberry waffle sock pattern in my double tap Zombieland inspired colorway, hence zombie waffles. Now I have to cough. This is on my Squish 2.0 base, which I'm just loving. I can't wait to have these socks done so that my son can wear them because they are nice and squishy. So it's an aptly named base, Squish 2.0, using US 1.5s, and I'm still probably about an inch from the toe decreases, because I'm going to say I did maybe a round or two since the last time you saw this. It just has not been what has been getting most of my attention. However, the other thing that's in the bag, so in the bag I have the sock I'm working on, the rest of the yarn, and the first sock that was already started. So just letting you know what's in here. And I'll tell you about it again later too. Actually, I'm going to take it out for right now so I can get the other project out, which is what I'm really going to talk about. This was not started the last time, but it was in my list of on deck kind of projects. And this is the View from the Charles shawl pattern by Jennifer Lassonde, which is one of the patterns I'll be doing a drawing for a little bit later in the podcast, which is one of the reasons that I wanted to record today, even though I don't have a lot of knitting to show you. We've got those three patterns that I've had drawings open for since 2 podcasts ago, and I wanted to do those drawings and get those winners, the patterns out to those winners. So Anyway, but this is one of them, and it's called View from the Charles by Jennifer Lassonde. I'm doing the DK weight version. There's also a fingering weight version. And I am using my Bonafide base, which is my DK weight base. And I wanted to do it with one of my gradients because I do the DK weight gradients and I sell them in kits at shows mostly. I do them for shows. The leftovers end up in the shop. But I sell them in the kits with the Takusha cow pattern. Cowl, not cow. Cow, moo cow. But, you know, everybody who buys them obviously is not going to knit the cowl the pattern that it comes with. People use them for all kinds of things. So I thought, well, I wanted to try using my yarn, one of my gradients, for this pattern since she wrote it with gradients in mind. Gradients or leftovers. So anyway, here it is so far. This is the patterned half of the shawl. The other half is picked up along this edge and then knit pretty much garter stitch, I do believe. So let's talk about this. I love this. First of all, I'm going to say I really do love this pattern. I like the fact that you've got all these different segments. You know, it starts out down here as garter stitch, okay? And then you get into the first patterned piece, which is a drop stitch section, and then there's more garter, and then there's a stockinette and seed stitch section. I'm not sure how well you can see the seed stitch, but it's there. And each section is set off by eyelets. So there's these 2 rows of eyelets setting off each pattern section. So then you get up more garter stitch, and then there is a second section with dropped stitches, which is a larger drop stitch section, and then more garter. And then there is I can't remember how she has it named. Let me see. I don't want to call it something that it's not. The diagonal eyelet section. That is the next to the last pattern section. So I don't know if you can see well. There you can kind of see the eyelets going in diagonals there. So you have the 2 rows of eyelets top and bottom, but then there's also eyelets going, and I'm making my finger go the wrong way. Why can I never do this? This way. So eyelets this way across that section. And then lastly, okay, so then you have more garter, and then the last section is an eyelet mesh and more dropped stitches. So that's this top section up here. Then you have more garter stitch, garter at the top, and then you bind off and you pick up. Well, okay. The nice thing about Jennifer's patterns, and I've knit one of her patterns before, is she counts down for you. She tells you the stitch count in each section. Like at the end of each row, she tells you how many stitches you should have, which is really, really nice. Now in this pattern, what she does, and I'm trying to find where it is, she tells you basically how many yards or how many grams she used for each section. So the right-hand section, this section that I just did here, I'm almost done with it. I have some more garter that I'm going to do at the top, and I'll explain that in a second. Used like 62 grams of yarn. The other side should use 38. And I don't know if that, yeah, I guess that adds up to 100 grams. She used some yarn that was, her yarn was Knit Circus, which is a DK weight, 250 yards. My DK weight has 231 yards for 100 grams, so I knew I was probably going to run a little short. As you can see, my gradients, these color block gradients, have 4 colors in them. Well, here I am. I'm on the 4th color, and I'm at the top of the section. This is all I have left. So I am definitely not getting the same quantity going here, like the same percentage. You know, this is using, pretty much going to use all my yarn. I've done all the garter ridges that the pattern calls for, but she said, you know, you can always add more garter ridges. So I'm adding more just to make it about the same size as these other garter sections. So I'm probably going to end up using most of this yarn. So then my conundrum was, okay, I mean, it's not a big deal. I don't mind using more yarn, But I thought, okay, should I just maybe dye up a whole skein of this black and use that for the whole other side? Or should I go with a whole second gradient ball and work my way out? Like pick up using the black, doing the black for a while, and then going into the other colors. And that's what I'm going to do, because I did have another, I actually had a couple in stock for the show. I stole one. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to go ahead and probably pick up using some of the black, and then I'm going to work into these other colors. And I'm going to cut if I need to, if I think I'm going to run out of shawl before I run out of colors, because I would like to use all 4 of the colors on the other side as well. So that is my plan right now. I'm definitely going to be using way more yardage than what the pattern called for. I've not gotten on Ravelry to look at other people's projects to see how other people's yardage, requirements ended up. I also did not measure my gauge. I have no idea if I'm getting gauge on this project or not. I figured it's a shawl. It's not really a big deal, other than the fact that I'm obviously using more yarn. But I knew that wouldn't be a problem, so I didn't worry about it too much. She does give a gauge measurement for the garter stitch sections, but it's blocked, and I didn't do a swatch. Bad knitter, bad knitter. So that being said, I'm kind of at the point where I'm just fudging this as far as the yardage requirements. Obviously, I'm using way, way more yardage than I should have according to the pattern, but I can't say that that's the pattern's fault. I'm saying it because, number one, I'm using yarn that has less yardage in it than what she did, and number two, my gauge is most likely off. I am using, let me see here. The pattern calls for US 8s. Now for DK, I would usually use a 6 or a 7, but this is meant to be open and loose and drapey, so the 8 is working really well. All my stitch definition looks fine as far as I'm concerned with the 8. I'm just going to guess. I mean, she's saying gauge 7 stitches over 2 inches. I don't even know what it is. Let me just do a quick dirty read here. I'm getting 8 stitches over 2 inches in garter. That's unblocked, though. If it was blocked, it probably would be about 7. So I don't know. Maybe my gauge isn't off. I have no idea. Not worried about it, because it'll be great. It will be just fine. It's just going to take more yardage than what I thought it was going to. So I'm not worried about it. All right. And actually, once I figure it out, like once I'm done and I figure out how much yardage I really did use between the 2 different gradient balls, and then I figure out the percentage that I used on the first versus the second, it may actually end up being a close percentage for the first versus the second as the same as what she has written in the pattern. Does that make sense? I may just be babbling and doing math in my head that doesn't make any sense. I do that a lot. Math is not my thing. But anyway, I'm enjoying the pattern. The bottom line here is this has been a really, really fun pattern to knit. I like the sampler kind of nature of this, the right-hand side pattern. This right-hand side of the shawl, how you're doing different segments. It very much does remind me of a sampler. And I like that. And I like the fact that those drop stitch sections, they repeat, but they're different. They're not all the same. So it's a very cool pattern. I would check it out. I definitely would recommend it. So anyway, all right. Lots of babbling about that, but anyway. Spinning, I did do a little bit of spinning, but not enough to bring in here to show you. I started spinning the Navajo churro in preparation for having some samples to show at my class that I'm going to be teaching on Saturday at Indie Knit and Spin. And then I have something else. I can't remember. Oh my gosh. No, I do have some other fiber that I'm going to spin up. I'm just spinning up sample bits at this point, just to be able to show during the class when I talk about conservation breeds. So, but that it's not enough to show you. Nothing's plied. If I had some plied, I would show you. But I'll show you next time because it'll definitely be done by then. Let's talk about the Natural Colors Fibers Spin-Along. It will start on Sunday. Yay! 6 days away. Can't wait. Excuse me. So it's starting on Sunday, November 15th, running through December 31st. So a month and a half of spinning at least 4 ounces of any natural colored fiber. It just needs to not have been dyed. It can be any fiber. It can be animal fiber. It can be plant fiber. It can be a blend. It doesn't matter as long as it has not been dyed. Any spinning method is fine, you know, wheel, drop, spindle, e-spinner, whatever. You can ply it, but you don't have to. That's not a requirement for this spin along. Just spinning the 4 ounces, that's all that's the actual requirement. You can spin more than 4 ounces, but 4 ounces is the minimum to qualify for a prize. Again, the heads up that January and February, I'm going to be doing a hand spun knit along. So if you want to use whatever you're spinning now in the knit along in January and February, you might want to do the plying now too, just to have that finished. And lastly, let's talk about the Shetland spinning sets, which I did not bring one over, but I'll go grab one. I'm back. All of the ones that were originally put up for dibs, those have been bought, purchased, and sent out. I did end up, like I told you last time, I was putting these up for pre-order, and I did that because I ordered more fiber. I had about 15 worth to put up for pre-order. All of the ones that have been pre-ordered are packaged and sitting out in my living room waiting to go to the post office, which is what I'm going to do as soon as I'm done recording and I get this processing. They're going to go ship. There are 7 left. I have enough, 7 more of these for anybody who is interested. They're no longer listed as a pre-order because they are all put together and ready to go, ready to ship. And really, you know, today's Monday. If you ordered it today, I'll make sure it ships tomorrow. If you order it tomorrow, it'll ship Thursday because Wednesday is Veterans Day here in the U.S., so there won't be any mail service. Even if I ship it Thursday to you, you should have it. Most places in the U.S. would probably have it by Saturday. Maybe some places out west it might take an extra day. But usually first class stuff kind of, and these are shipping first class, 2 days. You know, I know it's not guaranteed, but even if you don't get it until Monday, I mean, that's only 1 day into the spin along, so that's still plenty of time. So if you are interested in spinning the Shetland, so it's 2 ounces of each of these 5 colors, ecru, fawn, and I know it's horrible to see it through the plastic, ecru, fawn, morit, gray is down here. These are kind of smushed, so they're different thicknesses, but they're still 2 ounces. And then the last one is black. If you want to do this for the spin along, it's still plenty early that you could get started. You just probably might not be able to get started on Sunday. So anyway, so 7 left up for grabs. And I have decided that this is what I'm going to spin to. Originally, I hadn't been sure if I was going to do the Shetland or not. I do have some. I'm kind of using the leftovers from it. So some of it I have, well, at this point, I definitely have enough, you know, like the 2 ounces of each. But I was sort of using the leftover bits from all the other ones, the kits or the sets that I put together. But I'm definitely going to spin the Shetland because so many of you were very enthusiastic about it and have purchased it for the purpose of doing the spin along. I think it'll be fun that we're all spinning it together. And for those of you who aren't spinning the Shetland, that's fine. I can't wait to see what you spin to. I think it'll just be interesting to see how many different ways people spin the Shetland. And what you do with it. You know, I think it's just going to be a really interesting spin. My game plan for it is to spin each of the colors separately. I'm not going to join them together in any way. I'm just going to have individual skeins when I'm done, you know, the ecru, the fawn, the morit, etc. And then I'm going to use each of those in the knit along. I want to do a shawl that has each of those colors in it. I don't know what shawl. I considered doing a hap, but I don't know. So we'll wait and see. Not worried about the knit along part yet. I have to do the spinning first, but that is going to be what I'm going to spin for the spin along. I'm probably not actually going to be able to start spinning for the spin along until Monday, because I'm probably going to be really busy on Sunday. Yeah, so you don't have to start on Sunday, but you can if you want to. I would like to. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. At any rate, the winner of the Shetland spinning set from last time, she had already actually pre-ordered one, so I refunded her, and so she's got hers. So that actually freed up an extra set, so that's in the shop. Let's talk about prizes, because we do have prizes for the spin along. As I told you last time, Benita from Dyed in the Wool has offered a $25 gift certificate for that shop. She also has the Fiber Pusher podcast, by the way. And she's offering a coupon code to be used now through the end of the year, and it's FND10 for 10% off anything in the Dyed in the Wool shop. So I will again put that in the show notes. I have a second Fibery prize being offered by a viewer. She's putting it in the mail to me, so once I have that in hand, I will let you know what it is, and I'll be able to show it to you, and that will be another prize. And as I told you last time, I am offering a fiber sampler. I've not yet decided what that's going to include, but it'll be something good. I'm not sure if it's going to be undyed or if it will be dyed fiber, because I figure maybe by the end of the spin along you're going to want some color. I don't know. We'll see, but stay tuned. Let's see, what else? Oh, all right, well, that's everything about the spin along. If you have any questions, there is a thread in the group, the 90% knitting group. I have a thread going, the general chatter kind of thread that has the guidelines. Please ask questions in there. I'll get back to you there, or you can PM me if you want to. That's fine too. And then on Sunday, I will open up a no chatter thread for you to post your finished spinning pictures. And I'll put a little bit more information in there when I do that. But at this point, that thread's not open. Just the chatter thread is open. So you can look for that, and please chatter, 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 chatter. All right, let's talk about the Bags by Awesome Granny bag, because I'm now going to go into my review of this bag. First of all, Darlene is the wonderful sewer or seamstress behind Bags from Awesome Granny. And she asked me if I would be interested in reviewing one of her bag sets. And I said, sure, I would love to. I don't do a lot of product reviews. I probably do pattern books more than anything. And I will say, Cooperative Press just sent me a whole slew of pattern books, ebooks. So you can be looking forward to getting some reviews of those coming up, but not today. Today we're focusing on Awesome Granny. So anyway, she sent me a set that includes her large bag and a notions pouch. Now, I was on her site prior, her shop site, which is an Etsy shop, and let me get to that so that I can tell you about it. The URL is, which I will, obviously, I will post in the show notes. I'll post all of the pertinent information. But you can get to it at www.etsy.com/shop/bagsbyawesamegranny, all one word. I forget what the other URL format is for Etsy shops. It's been too long. Oh, just bagsbyawesamegranny.etsy.com. So I need to get my camera screen back so I can see if you're actually able to see this or not. So, her email address is bagsbyawesamegranny@gmail.com. She's on Ravelry as Awesome Granny, and she also has a Ravelry group, which you can search Bags by Awesome Granny and come up with that. So, oh, okay. So let's talk about the bag set. First of all, I'm going to tell you, I love this bag set. This is awesome, literally. Not just made by Awesome Granny, but it's an awesome bag set. Let's talk about the large bag first. Her bags come in different sizes, and from what I can see from her listings, she's now changed how she does her listings. She shows sample bags, but she's showing them for the sake of the fabric. And so she lists her items. The listing is for the fabric, and then you get to pick what size or sizes of bags you want, or if you want a set. So the options appear to be a large bag with a notions bag. So that's what this is, that set. Or you can just get a large bag, or you can get a medium bag. So let me tell you the specs on this since I have this up. The large bag is approximately 15 inches long, 10 inches tall, and 5 inches wide. And then the notions pouch, 8.5 inches long, 5 inches tall, and 3 inches wide. Okay, so I chose this awesome, this super fun little Red Riding Hood fabric. I didn't look to see if there's any more of this in the shop, actually, but it's super cute. I just love it. The wolves and the little owls, and there's Red Riding Hood and Grandma. Anyway, there's little mushrooms through the woods, and I like how the wolf has salt and pepper on a bib. So anyway, the bag is really well made. It's squishy. It's not, it doesn't have, what's it called, the stuff, interfacing. It's not interfaced. There's nothing thick. It's, I mean, it actually, no, I don't think it's interfaced. So it's squishable, which is something that I love about my project bags. I want my project bags to be squishable. Now, I have 2 projects in here, as I said before, so there's not a lot of squishing space to begin with. But that's okay, because I can squish it if I need to. The bags come, they have a handle, so you can carry it that way. It also has this cool little loop, so you can clip things onto there if you want to. If you have a carabiner, you could always clip it on to your belt loop with a carabiner. It might be a little big to do that with the large bag, but you could still do it if you wanted to. And then the bags also come with a zipper pull that say Bags by Awesome Granny. And just so you know, the zipper pull always comes inside the small bag, if there's a small bag, and it's the little net pouch that it's in, and so you can take it out and clip it onto your zipper. Okay, so that's the outside fabric. They're lined. So it's got this great little wolf fabric on the inside. Very well lined. There are no rough seams, everything hidden seams in here. Nice zipper. Now these aren't the big aggressive zippers. These are nice fabric zippers. Opens and closes really, really well. Nothing to catch on. Your yarn's not really going to catch on this or anything. Space-wise, this large bag is fantastic. Like I told you earlier, I've got 2 projects in here. So I've got the sock project, which includes the sock that's done, the sock that's almost done, and the rest of the yarn. And then I've got the shawl, the Jennifer Lassance shawl. So I've got the shawl in progress with the rest of its yarn, plus a second ball of yarn, plus the pattern. And I've been carrying the notions pouch in here as well. And it all fits great. So that's what, 1, 2, 3 balls of yarn plus 2 sizable projects at this point, you know, plus a pattern and a project bag. So, and there's still extra room. I could actually stuff something else in here if I wanted to. I probably won't, but I could. So I am really, really pleased with this bag. I have carried it around a bit, not a lot, because my knitting time that I've had has mostly been at home, but it's been nice to be able to just stuff everything in here. And then if I want to knit in the bedroom, I can carry it in there. I can carry it out to the living room. Everything's in here, perfectly sized. So that is the large bag. Love it. And honestly, this is about a perfect size large bag for me. Because like I said, if I did what I was originally wanting to do, start my antler cardigan, I could definitely have at least 3 skeins of yarn in here and be knitting on the project and have the pattern and everything. This is a perfect size large bag for me. I like this size. Optimal size for a large bag. Much bigger than that, they start to get a little overwhelming. A little unwieldy. Anyway, let's talk about the notions pouch. I have to say the first thing I noticed about this Notion pouch, and again, it's fabric, it's not interfaced, it's squishy, lined with the same fabric. She's got her little tag in both of them. There is not a zipper pull on the small zipper on the pouch, but it's got a nice ribbon and it's a nice length. You can grab a hold of it. It does have the little clippy, or the little loop that you could do a clippy. You could actually clip this with a carabiner to the outside. Loop on there if you wanted to and just have it hanging. That's an idea. Anyway, the first thing I noticed about the project or the Notions pouch is the fact that it is not flat. It is gusseted. That is awesome. Almost every Notions pouch that I own, I'm looking around, they're great, but they're flat, you know. This not being flat, having some width at the bottom, you know, allows you to put a whole lot more in your Notions pouch because you can fill it up and you have that space at the bottom. I really like that. I think that's a wonderful idea. So I'm just going to show you what's in my Notions pouch and you can see how much I have in there. This is the little baggie that the pool had come in and a business card. Okay, so in my Notions pouch, and there's a lot of non-knitting stuff. Well, not a lot, but a granola bar. I carry granola bars with me just about everywhere. I have them in all my purses and in my bags and my gym bag, in my car, because I get hungry and they're great. So I have a granola bar in my Notions pouch. I have some closable stitch markers. I have a thing of regular stitch markers. I have a little ruler. I have measuring tape. I know that's probably redundant, but I like having both. I have my chibi needles. I somehow have 2 pairs of scissors. I'm not sure why. Usually these purple ones actually stay in my bedroom on my nightstand, so I must have accidentally stuck them in there. Nail clippers, both for the fact that, like, if I'm knitting and suddenly I get something that's rough on my nail, I can trim my nail. I usually have an emery board as well. I don't have one in here. There's always that little file on the nail clippers. The other thing is if I'm traveling, I often will just travel with this, like by air, and not bring scissors at all, and I'll use this to cut my yarn because, you know, scissors, sometimes they're funny about those things. I have a couple crochet hooks, a larger one and a smaller one. I don't usually carry stitch holders. I'm not sure why this is in there. It must have been in my other Notions pouch that I had taken stuff out of to put in here, but they're nice to have too. You can use them for lots of things. And lastly, I have my lotion stick from Melissa, the Keep On With Life No Touch lotion stick. This is the peppermint one. I need to get more of these because, kind of like my granola bars, I would like to have one of these everywhere. I use the ones I have so much. If you have not checked out Melissa's shop, please do that. I know this is not a review of Melissa's stuff right now, but this was in the bag, so I just thought I'd pimp her a little bit. Anyway, all of that fits into this bag, and I still have tons of space that I could be putting more things in there. I'll put it back in so you can just see. So that is everything. And it's like, it's half full. Like, that's the top of everything. I could definitely put more stuff in here. In fact, like, if I was out, I could stick my cell phone in here. I could probably put my iPod and my earbuds in here. This is actually a perfect size for just like a little clutch kind of bag if you were going out and didn't want to have to carry a big purse. I mean, I would carry this just as, like, to carry, I have like a little, it's not a change purse. It kind of look, well, I guess maybe it is a change purse. I just, like, I put my driver's license and some cash in it and my ATM card if I'm going out and I don't want to carry my entire purse. I have that, and usually my phone. The phone doesn't fit in the change purse, but, like, you could put both of those things in something like this and it would be perfect. So anyway, I really, really love this Notions pouch. I love the whole set, but I'm really tickled with this Notions pouch and how much it holds without being too big. Okay, like length and width, it's not too big, but that width, the depth part, that's what makes it really, really cool. So anyway, I have to give 2 thumbs up or a 10 to Darlene's bags because they are really, really nice and I just love them. I hope you will go check out her shop. Again, I'll put the URL in the show notes on the 90% Knitting board in the episode thread. She is offering a coupon code for us, 15% off through the end of the year, and that is FiberNymph15. So you can use that in her Etsy shop off of anything in there through the end of the year. And for the review, she wanted to offer a set to a viewer. It will be viewer's choice. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a thread in the 90% Knitting group. I will leave it open. I'm going to leave it open through 2 podcasts, only because I think I'm probably going to end up recording again next Monday, and I want to leave it open an extra week beyond that. So I will leave it open for through 2 podcasts for you to enter to win your choice of bag from Bags by Awesome Granny. So please be looking for that. I'm also going to post this on Instagram to help people, to help get the word out about that, let people know. So you can look for it there as well. But please don't forget to check out her shop just in general, and see, you know, use the discount if you'd like to get a bag or a bag set, FiberNymph15. And thank you so much, Darlene, for sending me this set to review. It's going to get so much use. And thank you for offering the coupon code as well as the giveaway. I really appreciate it, and so do my viewers. So thank you so much. I'm going to do the drawings now, and I'm going to cut this segment out and actually put it in after the review part of the podcast. So this is going to be chopped up a little bit. I apologize. I didn't write the drawings in my show notes. I knew I needed to do them, and I actually have done them. I have the winners here. I'm going to tell you who they are. Oh, gosh. Okay. First of all, the view from the Charles, which I showed you that pattern already. That's the one that I'm knitting. We had 67 entries into that drawing. So I did a random number generator between 2 and 68, and the winner was number 41, and I'm going to look that up now so that I can tell you who it was. It's so much easier to do the random number part before I get on here. Okay, number 41 is Blonde 20 Fan. That's Jessie, and she's from Michigan. So Jessie, congratulations. You have won the View from the Charles pattern, and I will, if you PM me, let me know you won. I will let Jennifer know, and she will send you that pattern. She will gift you that pattern. My question for entering this drawing was, since this is about a river, what is your favorite river? And she said her favorite river is a local river, the White River here in Michigan. We enjoy tubing, kayaking, and camping along the river all summer long. It's beautiful and peaceful. Well, cool. I would like that spot too, probably. I would have to say my favorite river is probably the Conemaugh around here, only because that's the one that I've been on the most kayaking. So for small water, that's probably it. Although it's Pittsburgh. We're the city of rivers, city of bridges, but we have a lot of rivers. You don't usually need bridges if you don't have rivers. So, you know, we have the Allegheny and we have the Mon that come together at the point and form the Ohio. So those are nice rivers too. They're very pretty. So, all right. Well, congratulations to Jessie. All right, the second drawing is going to be for the Azteca shawl. Let me show you that one. And the Azteca shawl is by Debbie Hostis. So let's do the drawing for that. We had 30 entries for that one. So I did the random number generator 2 through 31, and the winner was number 8. So let me get to that thread, and number 8 is Rbebla, R-B-E-B-L-A, and that is Renee from Pennsylvania. So congratulations, Renee. You have won a copy of the Azteca shawl. So please PM me, let me know that you won, and then I will let Debbie know, and she will gift you that pattern. The question that I asked for this one was, let us know what yarn you think you might use to knit this shawl. And she said she'd like to do it in gray, purple, and a touch of green or wine color. Beautiful patterns. That sounds cool. I hope you knit it. I want to see it. All right, and lastly, we have the Esther Bell pattern by Emily Estrada. And we had 46 entries in that one. And I don't actually know what colors I would use for the Aztec. I was trying to answer that too. I'm not sure. That would be a cool one to do with scrap yarn, like leftover yarns. I think that would be fun. All right, but Esther Bell is by Emily Estrada, and again, 46 entries. The random number generator picked number 34, and number 34 is Eliz Stitches, and that is Betts from Illinois. So congratulations, Betts. And my question for this winner, or for this drawing, because the pattern, Emily talks about her great-grandmother being the inspiration for this, and she describes her as being sassy, practical, and compassionate. I asked you to please tell us about the most sassy, practical, and/or compassionate person in your family, past or present. Maybe it's you. And so let me get back to our winner here. Eliz said that would have to be my dear great aunt Alice, who I remember being those three things exactly. She was out of my life too soon, and I wish I would be able to know her now that I am old. LOL. So, well, that's cool. See, it's so nice to have somebody like that. In my family, this would have to be my Aunt Zelda. Actually, my mom's Aunt Zelda, but I mean, she's my Aunt Zelda also. She is now no longer with us, but Aunt Zelda was just a very spunky lady, very sassy. Her story was that, you know, she had two boys. Her husband was, I believe he was killed, like car accident. I don't actually remember. I'd have to ask my mom. But he died when the boys were quite young. Aunt Zelda never remarried. She was dedicated to, she raised her boys. She worked full time and took care of them and raised them. I mean, this is back in a day when that wasn't typical. You know, you didn't have a lot of working mothers back then. But she was always so much fun. Like, this picture was taken at Christmas time. Aunt Zelda liked her beer and her cigarettes. And I'm thinking probably this was after dinner, because I think she was pretending to be singing into a microphone at this point. I mean, it's not like she was dancing on tabletops or anything, but she was just a hoot. And she was funny, and she loved to laugh, you know, but she was just a very laid back kind of, you know, fun, sassy person. So that's who I thought of whenever I asked that question. So anyway, Bets, please PM me, let me know you won, and then I will get you connected with Emily, and she will gift you your pattern. So anyway, thank you to everybody who entered those three drawings. I'm now going to stop, and we're going to jump back into the other section of the podcast from whence we came. Okay, I think that's everything for the 90% knitting part. Let's move on to 10%. Reading. I'm still reading How to Catch a Frog by Heather Ross, and I'm enjoying it. I kind of just sit down and I read a chapter here and there. It's not like I'm hardcore trying to get through it. I am still trying to read Wild or listen to Wild. You know I told you last time, like, whoa, this is deep stuff and like hard to listen to and really kind of depressing, at least at the beginning. I was only in chapter 1 when I was telling you about it last time. I've made it to chapter 3. And it was interesting, the feedback that I got from the last podcast when I talked about this. You know, some people were saying, yeah, it is hard to listen to. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. Some people are like, I just couldn't. And I'm accepting the fact that it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I'm interested enough that I don't want to give up on it yet. So I'm just listening to it in small snippets. You know, I'm just a little bit at a time. It's not something I'm listening to through like a whole dyeing session in my kitchen. I just can't, because it is pretty bleak, at least at the beginning. I'm really hoping that as she goes up that trail, things get better. Fingers crossed. So anyway, that's my reading. I guess the biggest thing that's been going on was last weekend. I want to tell you about my weekend because I had so much fun. I signed up months ago to do this, actually. It was a wilderness first aid training weekend. I think I've mentioned before, I belong to a group called Venture Outdoors here in Pittsburgh, which is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a group that sponsors all kinds of outdoor activities. You know, kayaking. I've gone kayaking with them before. I've gone snowshoeing with them before. They have hikes. I can't remember if I've actually done any of their hikes, but they do hikes, both urban hikes, backpacking trips, wilderness hikes. They do a lot of biking. I am not a bicycle rider, so I've never done any of their biking things. And then they do like some specialty things. You know, they have things for, you know, families with small children. They have dog-friendly outings, things like that. I joined it just because I love doing outdoor stuff, and I really didn't have anybody to do it with. And I have no problem going and doing things outdoors by myself. Like, I love to hike. I'll go hike by myself any day. But sometimes it's nice to have somebody to do it with, you know. So that's why I joined. And if you're in the Pittsburgh area, I would highly recommend looking into this if you like outdoorsy stuff. It's just a lot of fun. And the membership is not very expensive at all. I think it's like $25 a year or something. So anyway, one of the activities that they were sponsoring was this wilderness first aid training thing. And I thought, you know what? I'm outside enough, and I don't go in the back country a whole lot, but I figured this is probably a good thing to have. You know, it's good information to have no matter what you're doing, because a lot of it could apply almost anywhere. But it was definitely geared towards, you know, wilderness. Basically, if you're out on a trail or on a river or somewhere where you can't just pick up the phone, call 911 and have an ambulance there in 10 minutes. This is what this course was geared towards, giving you the specific kind of first aid information that you might need while you are waiting for someone to come with more equipment and more knowledge than you, and just to be able to help the injured person until that can happen, or until you can evacuate them in some way. So it was Saturday and Sunday. It was a 16-hour course. It was fun. It was sponsored. It was sponsored by Venture Outdoors. They were the host organization. The training was done by the Wilderness Medicine Institute, WMI, which is part of a larger organization called the National Outdoor Leadership School, and they have tons of programs. And the Wilderness Medicine Institute also has a bunch of different, you know, first aid related programs as well. I will put links to all of these organizations in the show notes, because if you're an outdoorsy person, those latter two, those are, you know, all over the place, not just here in Pittsburgh. So you might want to look into them. Anyway, they were two instructors were there for the weekend. The program was really cool. Lots of information, like information overload. And some of it, if you've taken regular first aid, might seem sort of familiar, but it was not a regular, like a Red Cross first aid kind of thing. Like I said, it was really, really specific to being in the outdoors, in the backcountry, out in the wilderness somewhere where help is not readily available. What was super nice about this training, and what I really appreciated about it, was the fact that it was very hands-on. It was not just sitting for 2 days listening to lectures. You know, they broke the information down into manageable segments, you know, basics, and then specific types of injuries and illnesses you might encounter. We did that over the 2 days, but every so often we'd stop and they'd be like, okay, we're going to go out and we're going to do a scenario now. And we spent a lot of time outside. And let me tell you, it was a little chilly this weekend. So much for those 70-degree days we were having last week. That would have been great for this, but no, it was in the 40s for the most part. I don't know, maybe it got up into the low 50s yesterday. I don't remember. I camped out though. It was cold. I woke up, it was 32 degrees. I was toasty warm in all my clothes and my sleeping bag, but it was a little chilly getting out of bed. But it was fun. So anyway, you know, we learned so much. And then they divided us up. There was 21 people. They divided us, I think it was 20 or 21 students. They divided us into 3 groups, and so each group took a turn being the patient in the scenarios. So 1/3 of the time you were the patient, and then the other 2 teams would, you know, pair up. And so you usually had a team of 2 trying to work with the patient. And there was like this very prescribed protocol of how you do this. And you had, you know, you were taught this assessment protocol, and you were meant to use it every single time, no matter what it looked like was going on, which that was really hard, because sometimes you'd walk up to somebody and you'd think, oh, there's nothing really major going on with this person, you know. But if you didn't follow that protocol, the scene was set up so that you might miss something really important. So it was very interesting to learn that. and learn how to do it. And then finally by the end, I think it was the last, I guess it was just the last scene, and I got to be one of the patients for the last one. It was one-on-one. You were whoever was rescuing was by themselves. They did not have somebody with them, which is also, you know, if you're out in the woods by yourself, you could come upon somebody who's injured, or in this case, unconscious. I got to just be completely unconscious the entire time. And there was a storyline, but it was virtually impossible for the person who was trying to help me to know. Some of us were given like these little fake medical ID tags saying that we were diabetic. I didn't get one though, so there was absolutely nothing to tell my person why I was unconscious on the ground. And I felt bad for her because I could tell she was like, I'm not really sure. I don't know. I mean, she went through everything the way she was supposed to, but there was nothing to tell her that I was, you know, in a diabetic state, you know, just because there wasn't anything. So anyway, it was cool. It was a lot of fun. I'm so glad I did it. They, like I said, they offer a bunch of other courses that are much longer, much more involved. This was just the Wilderness First Aid course. There's Wilderness First Responder, which I think is like a 4-day course. And then there's something else, a Wilderness EMT course, which is many, many hours. I don't foresee me doing any of those. I don't think I have the need for them, but I think they would be great programs if that's something that you're super interested in. So anyway, I had a good time this weekend. That was what I did. And again, I spent tons of time outside in the chilly, cold weather, which that can be draining in and of itself, just being out in the cold a lot, but it was worth it. So I'm really glad I went and did that. It made for a good weekend. So anyway, that was the highlight of my weekend. All right, let's see. Shop news. That's what's next, now that I'm jumping all around, because I just got done recording the drawing part that I had to put in after after the bag review and before the 10% because I got all messed up. So yeah, we're all over the place today, people, but that's okay. All right, let me just tell you, the November minis of the month, they were up for pre-order last Monday, the 2nd. Here they are. This is Blown Glass, 3-stripe colorway, and soft black is the coordinating color. There are still 3 sets available in the shop, so if you still are looking for those, you have a chance. Also, I did pre-orders last Monday as well for the Winter's Wizards colorway and the 7 Deadly Sins colorway. Those all sold out, so they're gone for now. I will put more in the shop eventually as I can dye them, not as pre-orders. So they will be coming again, just not right now. I also had the pre-orders for the Shetland spinning sets, which, like I told you earlier in the podcast, there are still 7 left, and they're no longer listed as pre-orders because they're ready to ship out. So, oh my goodness, I'm hiccuping or something. I can't stop. So anyway, that was last Monday. So thank you to everybody who took advantage of that pre-order update. I am vending this Saturday at Indie Knit and Spin here in Pittsburgh. It is on the 14th from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock in Edgewood at the Edgewood Community Center. Please come by if you're anywhere near. I would love to see you. I am teaching a class on conservation breeds. My class is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Right now I only have 3 people signed up. Plenty of room if you want to take it, or there's a bunch of other classes. I will link again to the WordPress blog so that you can see the other vendors and you can see what other classes are being offered. It's just a wonderful little event. It really is. And we grow every year. This is my 5th year doing it, and I love being a part of it. After the show, I will be doing my post-show update with all of the show leftovers on Wednesday, the 18th. I'm going to try to record on Monday, the 16th, so a week from today. I don't know that I'm going to show you everything that's going into the shop. That would be insane because there's usually a lot left over after a show. But I'll talk about it, and I'll let you know kind of generally what will be going in there. But that is my plan, to record again in a week. And then with Christmas colorways, I've been getting questions about Christmas colorways, and I am so sorry that I have not been able to do a Christmas colorways update prior to now. I usually do. This year just got away from me with everything else going on with show stuff and wholesale order stuff and everything. So I'm going to do my Christmas colorway update on Friday. December 4th. That will not be a pre-order update. That will actually be the yarn. So you'll order it and I'll ship it. So you'll definitely have it prior to Christmas. It's just, I know, cutting it close if you wanted to actually knit it up before Christmas, but it's the best I can do this year. So anyway, that is everything coming up. Next year, I'm in next year mode and I'm thinking about things. I have 3 shows on my calendar next year. 2 are local, 1 is at a distance, and I'll talk more about those later on. I don't think I'm going to add any more shows. I played with the idea of maybe adding another show or 2 to my calendar. I don't think I'm going to. Because between the shows that I have and between my wholesale business, which has grown steadily, and I'm so thankful for that, I feel like this year, especially maybe a little last year, I have not been able to put as much focus on my retail business, my shop updates. And that has always been something that's been important to me. You know, I started out doing really regular shop updates back at the beginning. Granted, I wasn't buying nearly the volume that I am now, even for the shop updates, and I didn't have as many colorways and everything. So it was easier to do really regular shop updates. But they've always been an integral part of my business. And I feel like this year, that was the area that sort of it didn't get the attention that it deserved. And if you've been with me from the beginning of when I had my shop, I mean, I'm ending my 5th year here. My business started January of 2011, so I'm almost complete with my 5th year. But if you've been with me from the very beginning, you will probably remember that there used to be a lot more shop updates and more regular, and you've seen my business grow and you've seen it change. You don't have growth without change. And that's a good thing. You can have change without growth, but growth does not happen without changes. And I just feel like at this point, I kind of want to get a handle more on keeping my regular shop updates going while maintaining, you know, the shows that are on the calendar, because that's plenty. 3 shows is fine. I'm good with that. And also maintaining and being able to grow my wholesale business as I have the opportunity to do so. And I also still want to be able to accommodate special orders for people. I've always done that. I like being able to do that. I don't like saying, you know what, I can't do it this month, but if you wait next month, get back in touch with me. I don't like having to do that. I want to be able to accommodate what you guys want. So that's just giving you just a little brief kind of update on where I'm thinking for the new year. I'm really, really hoping to get back to being able to do a little bit more regular shop updates. So I hope you're okay with that. That's everything. I'm gonna go. I need to ship all this fiber out to you guys who have ordered it, and I have bunches of other things to do to get ready for this show on Saturday. So I hope I see you on Saturday if you're in Indie Knit and Spin, and if not, I will talk to you next week. Have a great week. Take care.